Hey, and welcome to Lemon Drops, brought to you by the Smoky Lemon crew. Well, we're talking branding, marketing, and everything in between. So grab a coffee, sit back, and let's drop in. Welcome along to our next episode of Lemon Drops, and I'm really excited with our guests today. We're always excited, but I handpicked the guests. So I have Julia and Paul Phillips, incredible locals who've been around for a long time, of course, from WR Phillips. So hi, guys.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so a little bit nervous, and we wouldn't let Paul have whiskey first. So, first of all, before we kick into the podcast and learning a bit about the rich history of WR, congratulations. You've just picked up, for the 5th year in a row, Dealership of the Year.
Yes.
For Mitsubishi.
Yeah. What does that mean to you guys?
Well, it was a trip over to Fiji for it.
Okay.
So, it's just a culmination. I mean, you just get on and do the day job, and so it's nice to be recognised by your peers.
5 years in a row.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So basically what it is there's a different groups of dealers throughout New Zealand that are all privately owned, and there's a whole lot of KPIs that get thrown in behind it, customer service, sales, all sorts of different things. And so it combines and you kind of fight for that spot. And we've won it 5 years in a row. So it's pretty proud because a lot of it's down to our staff.
Yeah.
And what they do on a daily basis, because the KPIs revolve around them selling.
Of course.
Selling cars and people.
Yeah, and the service people is about creating good service. So it's up to everyone. And then there's marketing team and it's all sorts to do.
It's exciting.
Really cool.
Yeah, real happy.
It's very cool.
Real happy.
It's a nice bag to on.
It is. Your forebearers must be happy, Paul, because of course WR was formed by your grandfather.
Yes.
Back in 1946.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the WR, I don't know if you know, Anna, so WR means William Rosser Phillips, which is Paul's, aka Bill.
Yep.
So
I mean,
a little bit about old.
I think Grandad had been in the motor industry for, more than 10 years prior to that. He lived in Wanganui. And then he'd come up to New Plymouth to manage the Dominion Motors, which is down where the White Cross Hospital.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Medicross. Yes, well, Medicross, sorry. Yep. So where Medicross is today, we used to be the Dominion Motors. And right next to that was the New Plymouth City Bus Depot.
Okay.
So it was my early memory.
Yeah.
And then...
That's showing age.
Yeah, it is showing the age. And then Grandad had wanted to buy into the Dominion Motors, and the owners didn't want any part of that. So he decided he'd branch out on his own. And I think testament to Grandad as a person that 8 of the Dominion Motors staff came across with him.
Whoa.
So when you think the relevance of that, the war over in Europe had been over probably only 6 months.
Wow.
And been the Second World War. And this group of men left the relative comfort of their employment at the time.
Because they believed in Bill.
Yep. Yeah. So, and what's cool, all 8 of those people did 20 years with the new company. So when they all retired at that point, or differing points, but they all did 20 years service with Grandad.
Wow, that's amazing. And so
much.
then your dad Neil and your uncle Rex took over from Grandad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
How long did they run it?
They started... so Rex joined the company in 1951 and Dad joined in 52. And they did different parts. Rex more through the office and accounting side, and then Dad did mechanics. He did got his mechanical apprenticeship. Dad was very practical with his hands. Grandad told him one day in actually late 1952 that his future at school was not looking bright from his perspective, and it was suggested that he's starting working on Monday.
And that happened.
That happened, yep. And Mum and Dad, because Mum and Dad had met at that stage, they'd been going out just a short time, and Mum was, they were both still at school, obviously, but Mum, outside Devonport Flats was where the news was broken, and Dad started his apprenticeship on the Monday.
Wow.
So,
as a child, do you remember going in and knowing that, or thinking one day this will be your...
No.
that you'd take over?
I think, I suppose by the time I got to high school, there's the knowledge that the business is there. And that's, I think, trying to define, what an opportunity looks like. And sometimes, I remember being told years ago, an opportunity, you've got to be good enough to identify it. And, we all go down different paths, and sometimes we regret what we didn't do. Sometimes what we do.
It's true though.
Yeah, and I suppose for me, definitely not until probably mid high school. Although Dad tells a slightly different story after talking with WR over those preceding years that. Granddad had faith and confidence that I would come in, so they had their private conversations.
Young Paul will be here.
No pressure though, no pressure at all.
Right,
And Nana and Granddad lived just across or up the road from where Mum and Dad were, and I remember I was always going over there mowing the lawns, and that's a memory that stayed with me for a long time. So probably had a bit to do with them while I was still at school. Unfortunate, Granddad died before I'd finished school, so I would have loved to have had that opportunity of working with him and seen him in that environment, because I've heard such wonderful stories about him as a person, as a boss. I only really knew him as a grandfather, and
he was the best way to know your grandfather.
Look,
though, right?
he was a tough old bugger. But again, anyone I think coming up in that time, and all our grandparents or great grandparents. It wasn't easy.
No.
We'd come through depressions and, and then going into that war. Terrible time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Incredibly tough. And all our families would have a story around the toughness of what New Zealand was like at the time.
In the meantime, though, Granddad Bill got brave and started his own
He
car.
did, yes. Yeah. Backed himself.
We've still got all the original books, like the first car we sold and all the dossiers. We've got this big cupboard with all the everything. It's pretty cool. One time, or in the future, I must get together and
put it together. Yeah, because now your sons, are involved as well.
So Ryan and Jared. So Ryan's our oldest son. He's in his very early 30s, and then Jared's in his late 20s. So they're both in sales.
And same thing, like no pressure, just sort of.
I think it's about I think they've gravitated there themselves, and Jared was a couple of years after school, so he did his own thing for a couple of years. So it's really nice. I mean, it's their decision to be there, and I think that's the really important part. I think family businesses, while they're a blessing and we can be fortunate to have access to be able to work in a family business, it could also be a curse. Yeah. And if you come into it, I think, in the belief that you should be there or have to be there, I think the business is heading down a slippery slope.
Yeah, you've got to want to be there, whether it's family or not, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to want to be wherever you are in life.
And our boys are pretty passionate about selling cars. They love it.
Probably like Granddad, though, great salespeople. I mean, Granddad talked people into lending them money to start a business after the war. So. Yeah,
gift of the gads.
Maybe.
What about, is there memorable stories of traditions that have been passed down along the WR Phillips family line when it comes to?
I don't know if we're still allowed to give our apprentices shots of whiskey on their first day. Yeah. So when they pass their apprenticeship.
Granddad always used to invite them up, and they'd have a shot of whiskey.
Yeah.
And then
go back to the workshop.
Yeah. So that was a tradition for a long time. I
don't think we're allowed to dunk them in the trough.
Yeah. Shouldn't talk about those things, really. But all industries,
Whiskey in a trough dunking, I think you should definitely shout the manoeuvre.
Sounds like we're doing a school
discussion.
But certainly some of the things that probably happened, and again, health and safety's changed a lot of things in business, full stop. Yeah. But I think some of the stories of Dad in his early days, he was a bit of a lad, and Dad passed away earlier this year, and I said at the funeral that he acknowledges that he was lucky he had the Phillips name, as Granddad would have fired him multiple times for some of the things that he got up to. And but
things like he used to try and blow up his car so he'd get a better one.
He did blow it up. Yeah, but we're talking an 8 horsepower and a 10 horsepower. But back in the day, that made a big difference. And,
all the time he rolled the tyres down and up in the... There's pops with lots of stories.
Yeah, and tried to blow the place up, and we had a petrol pump.
Yes.
So back on King Street, Bowsers. So they were the days, and we had our own petrol station, and people could come in, so customers could come in and just charge fuel up.
Okay, yeah.
So there was just a ledger down there, and it was sent out for anything else that was charged them during the month. So
they could come at any hours and do that.
Yeah. Oh no, it was full service.
Oh, okay.
It was full service, so it was during our hours.
Yeah.
But it was just how things have changed in business as well. That
tick it up.
We have not private businesses like ours don't have petrol pumps anymore,
or tick books.
Or tick books.
But I think as Julia said, just having the history around us is
you were just
pretty special.
Pop's just about blowing up a petrol station. What did he do?
Oh, one of the work colleagues had pulled in. We had a truck, because we were in tractors as well, and pulled in with one of our trucks to get it fueled up. And Dad decided he'd squirt him through the window with the hose.
What about that?
Yeah, no, water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that was water. But the bowels was in the nozzle was in the tank filling up, and the driver's foot came off the clutch.
Oh no!
Jumped forward, ripped the petrol bowser hose out, and then petrol went all over the forecourt, and so just silly things.
Then he stood back and lit a cigarette and worked out what he was going to do.
He did it.
Yeah.
I think Dad worked out how fast he could get up to Granddad's office in those days. But that all said, I think he learned a few things along the way.
So I guess that leads us into like challenges and advantages of working with, generations of family within the same business.
Lunch is always good.
Yeah.
Lunch is always good.
Do you always bring it, Mummy Jo?
Yeah. Lunch, we just had lunch. It's always good.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing now, though, I mean, I don't know if you know, Anna, is we don't just have Paul and I and the two boys. We've actually got our daughter's partner works for us, and one of the son's partners works. So there's actually 6 of us.
Keep the in-laws close, eh?
Yeah.
Keep them in jobs.
Absolutely, yeah.
So there's actually, believe it or not, 6 of us.
6 Phillips. Oh.
Yeah. 4
of our family.
And 2 wannabes.
And 2 hanger-ons. Yeah. So we got our biggest challenge is if we go away on a family trip like we are in June with our grandkids.
Everyone off at the same time.
Everyone off at the same time. So we do have 60 staff, but, we've got to make sure that we've got coverage in all these different areas. Yeah. So that is probably one of the biggest downfall.
It would be.
We're not down for it's a challenge.
Yeah,
so,
challenge.
Yeah, it's just one thing that you have to overcome with a family business.
So often you hear stories of people working with their husbands or their family and they fight and they disagree. We just don't have that problem.
Because Julie, how long have you been involved with WR Phillips?
Well, I've been involved ever since I've been with Paul. I used to do the marketing when I worked full time in other jobs. When you didn't have a full time marketer at the company,
like over 20 years.
Yeah, and now I have 3 marketing people plus myself, so that's how much it's changed. But physically, I've been in the dealership 12 or 13 years now. Class me as the hatchet one.
The hatchet one.
But yeah,
the one that makes things happen.
Yeah, got you.
The thinker in the door. That's where we were. So no, we love working together. I mean, we were just saying the other night, we were driving home in one car, which we don't normally do. And Paul said, if we didn't work, because it was late one night, if we didn't work together, our relationship probably wouldn't work.
Because you'd be apart so much.
Yeah, and one would get frustrated with the other one. But
you'd be off to Fiji all the time to get your
wouldn't get a plus one.
Yeah.
But I think with people talk about work-life balance. Our work is our life.
Yes.
It is our love, and people go, "Oh, you haven't got it right," and we're like, "We do. This is what we love to do."
For you, Paul, you've grown up seeing your grandparents and your parents living this similar roles.
Yeah, I think that's changed though, because I think in some regards business, I think, has always been challenging and difficult. I think the demands that are now on us because of business compliance, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that has changed. That it's not just selling a car, fixing a car. It's about the people management, the sensitivities around employing people. So
plus we're like ISO accredited, which is a global certification. So then I have to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's across. There's much more to it. We've got cell phones. We travel. We still get phone calls, which we take, which your family wouldn't have had back in the days.
Well, I think accessibility because of technology. There's no reason why you can't. I mean, if Dad ever went away,
well, they seem
but so that they couldn't be contacted. So when you actually went away,
you were away,
and I think for us, because it's our business, you've actually got to stay connected.
Yeah, of course.
And I think there's so much going on that if staff feel they need to reach out and contact, the means are there to do that.
They know that they can. They're not going to get in trouble. Or
we love it though. We don't mind that contact even.
Love the business.
Yeah,
that's probably the big thing. Love the business. I think just dealing with people.
Yeah.
Everything has changed. I think what is special though. I mean, I've been. Do I say when I started? Probably not.
43 years ago.
Yeah, 43 years ago.
43.
But I think for me...
It's about our age.
That old. I thought you were younger, Anna. But I think, seeing some people right from when I first started still dealing with the company.
Yeah, that's
and I think that's pretty special.
That's such loyalty, isn't it?
Absolutely. And there's so much choice available to people now.
Well, because you've got... What brands do you have under your roof now?
So, our selling brands were Mitsubishi, Volkswagen, Skoda, and Subaru.
Okay.
And then we do Audi.
Audi service.
Oh, got an Audi.
Yeah, there you go. Bring it on in.
So, and that's an expansion in itself. Every time you bring in a different brand as well.
So, when you go right back, we started at the very start with Todd Motors. So, Todd's were a distributor, so that's the same company that you think now, Todd Petroleum. So Todd's were
like Shell Todd.
So Todd's were a garage down in Central Otago in the late 1800s.
Yeah,
and then they got into distributing cars back in the early 1900s, and then Todd Motors was established. I'm not sure what year.
Yeah,
and so Grandad connected back with them, and so we had the Todd group of
that was
companies.
Like DeSoto's.
We started with DeSoto, Hillman, David Brown. Yeah, absolutely. So UK and America, where the cars came from.
Yeah,
and then it sort of just expanded out whatever Todds were involved with at the time, and then we had the opportunity. Todd's connected with Mitsubishi Motor Corporation out of Japan in the early 70s. So they put Mitsubishi under the stable. Mitsubishi Japan bought out Todd's in 1987, I think it was, in New Zealand. So from that point, it was Mitsubishi only. And then in early 2000, I think it was, or 2001, we got the franchise with Volkswagen.
Brilliant, yeah.
And then the other brands have come on more recently.
Yeah.
So the evolution, we've always had multiple brands.
Right.
Mitsubishi is the cornerstone of the business, that's for sure.
Well, we're Mitsubishi New Zealand's oldest selling dealer.
Wow.
And it's just about the oldest selling DP.
Stop it.
No,
that was
you'll walk out.
Yeah. Last week at the meeting, they were talking almost 60 years in New Zealand, and that's the Mitsubishi legacy.
And that's
that's us. As far as Mitsubishi goes.
Yeah.
We're the longest with the brand.
But if you go back to early days, our showroom on Devon Street, we've put pictures up before, but we've had 8 different fronts to it.
Yes.
And it's really cool because you can see the building and the different signage and the different things.
Evolution.
Yeah, it's really cool. So we've kept the inside of the building, inside ceiling in the building the same, and we've just recently painted it black. So it's got that big commercial old feeling. But we used to have tractors fully in there. It used to be so different than what it is now.
So the Mitsubishi showroom is the original showroom.
Yeah,
that's what Grandad started with.
Yeah.
So it's still the same.
The original.
So the beams were there when he started up, 1946. Yeah.
Now, another thing WR Phillips is heavily involved in, Julia, this is probably one for you, like community sponsorships and giving back to the community. You guys are massive with that. You do a lot.
Yeah, we obviously we've been around for 80 years, so the community's spend a lot of money with us. So we feel that we've got an obligation to give back to the community as well. We have a passion of doing more for health, well-being, family, rather than motorsports. Yes, we like motorsports. We've been watching
F1.
Yeah, F1 in Monte Carlo because we've not long been there, so you're watching where you've been.
Yeah.
But we
get that in there.
But the thing is with that, it's quite a restricted group of people.
Yes. So, it's like a passion.
Absolutely. So things like we're big with hospice. That's one of our main sponsors. Obviously, I don't have to explain that one.
Is that connected back to Neil?
Oh, no, actually.
Goes back further than that.
I mean, a little bit of that.
Everybody has connections.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you're young or old, we may all need that environment.
I think that the thing that you learn, unless you listen to someone explain these things, you learn organisations like hospice. They are so totally reliant on community support. Funding has changed drastically for them, and
COVID was horrible because they didn't get the donations and things that people were giving.
No one was going to the shops.
So that was a big loss. So we came on just after that because they recognised that they needed some help.
No, I think so. That one was just again, it's that community thing. And that doesn't, unfortunately, death and doesn't differentiate. Anyone.
No, it doesn't.
It's going to get us all at some stage. But they're an organisation that is that's the people first, and I think that's a strong philosophy for us.
You guys too. First. Yeah. And then the sport Taranaki.
Yeah. So we've been how many?
It's a long time.
Yeah.
24.
Yeah, 24 years. So once again, that's covering a whole range. I get inundated with, can you sponsor sponsor me, can you sponsor my team? So if we're giving to Sport Taranaki, we're covering overall. And they do such amazing things for the community, because it's not just, it's, you know, the older ladies that are exercising in the pool, it's the right, like rugby, it's cricket, golf,
prescription,
everything.
to fit, yeah, totally.
And obviously one of our other big ones is New Plymouth Boys High School, a huge sponsorship.
Are you an old boy from there?
Yeah, you're just an old boy.
Dad was there as well.
Yeah. So, our boys and our...
Yeah, so it's a generational thing.
Yeah, wow.
But there's also a lot we don't, like Paul and I are not shout from the roof kind of people. Yes, we're going to sit here and say we sponsor life.
Because I have to,
trust.
You know, yeah.
But we're not people... I don't know.
You don't do it for the accolades.
We've got a giraffe, though. We've got a life education
giraffe. Yeah, it's great big guns.
It's a big one.
The concrete one.
No.
I mean, the wooden one. Yeah. Where's that? At your house?
Skoda showroom.
I went to one of their sponsor events, and I bid $1,000 for a giraffe, and I didn't know what it was.
And it's a big one. It's not a stuffed toy for our grandson to play with.
Big stuffed toy, and I came home with like this.
They brought us a giraffe.
It's a metre-tall giraffe or whatever it is.
You know what? It's and you know that
it comes down to the donation.
And all that. The really cool thing is when we get in and sponsor an event, people then go, wow, or you know, people that are connected to those groups come and go, wow, let's buy a car from WR because they're sponsoring our charity, and it's so cool, goes around.
Yeah, you hope that there's a connection there, that people remember it. And I mean, we went out at our 75th and through our customers and just said we want to give a bit of money away. And so, you know, there was a whole group of organisations. We were fairly diverse around the provinces for helping plague centres put up.
A bit like Tom Cruise did, remember, with the roof that he did for the schools. We did that, you know.
So I think it's just...
Didn't fly over in a helicopter.
As Julia said before, you know, I think being in a community, you've got an obligation. Yeah. And it's a little bit like as individuals, I think we also have obligations. We shouldn't moan about what we don't have. You know, we've all got to, or should be putting something back into it as a volunteer, whether it's coaching a sports team or doing something, being at a show to, you know, take tickets. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But, you know, just helping. And I think for us, you know, we've, you know, been part of Taranaki for a long time, and, you know, it's nice to be able to unreservedly give something back, and particularly in this day and age, you know, it has huge meaning.
Yeah, it does. Because it
does.
Well, it's a catch-22, isn't it? Because it's harder for people to get donations, but then it's harder for businesses to make the money. So
make the donations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we've got a really group of people where often when we do something for them, we do get it in return, which is really nice. It's not that we're going out there to get the return.
No.
We can make money on the next car that we get a percentage there, you know.
I think it's, you know, I suppose it's a simple philosophy. If it's people before profit, you know, and
that's a big part.
It just rolls forward. I think if you think about whether it's a customers or staff, if you actually think about them in the first instance, and if everyone's happy at their work, and if everyone's doing their job, and you know, if we do attract customers to come and buy from us and fix their cars with us, it gives us an opportunity to make $1, which then, you know, once you make $1, you can actually do something with it. And I think, you know, versus, you know, if you're in business just to make money, I think some of the decisions you'll make along the way aren't for people's benefit, either customer or your staff. Yeah. Because when things get tough, and the last couple of years have been tough. Yeah.
You need the customers,
you know, all of a sudden you'll make decisions purely around making $1. Yeah. And, you know, while we all have to make $1 in business. Yeah.
But if you share $1, you probably make a couple of dollars.
I think for us, if you think of the people first, you know, it's the money. If you do everything well, and you've got some really, really strong processes and systems in place, and if you do things really well, that should then lead to a positive result for the company.
Have you noticed with, you know, the downturn in the economy, is the car sales one thing people aren't doing as readily as before?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, New Zealand the market last year was down about 20%. Calendar year, so definitely.
On you.
Motor industry did benefit after COVID. Yes. I mean, when people couldn't travel.
Let's buy a flash car.
But things were done. There was renovations done. There was spa pools, and etc. So there was lots of spending was done in New Zealand at that time. I think that, as I say, the motor industry is down 20%. I mean, the things have been tough, no question about it. It's great to see, you know, interest rates coming down, and it should get a few more people to smile as mortgages come up for renewal at different times this year. But I think it's, you know, again, if you've got good processes going, you know, you just you can't get bogged down with one bad year amongst many.
That's right.
And whatever it may end up like.
Have you ever had someone, this is like a random question, but
Okay.
here we go.
Surprise.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Have you ever had someone come in for a test drive and never come back?
No.
Not for a test drive.
Yeah.
No, not for a test drive. I can't say that about all dealers, though. I know it happens.
Oh, yeah.
I know it happens.
One of I remember a couple of years ago, I think we went to work together and you walked in and you're like, that car on the yard, that's not our number plate.
Oh.
And I'm like, how do you know that's not our number plate?
Because he knows everything.
Yeah, because he knows his numbers. And so we went inside and we looked up this number plate and it's like, that's registered to a Honda something or other.
Like another dealer?
No.
So, yes, it was. So they'd stolen the number plate. So I rang the police station. Yeah. We then went on our security cameras.
Yeah.
And we saw this person come in with a number plate, swap it over.
It's about 6:30 in the morning.
They took it off a dealership or a car yard in Palmerston or Wanganui, swapped it and
so they put the plates on one of your vehicles.
Yeah.
They took our plates and the police had a record. Police had a record of it. It was used in a fuel drive off. Tokoroa or something was the last time those plates were ever seen.
Here's another one for you. I had this lady come in with an Audi careful in it. We were doing what you call a recall, so changing the airbag. We ordered the airbag. The airbag came in, the airbag didn't fit. And so the technician says to me, so let's check the VIN. This is not the right airbag. This is not the right VIN. The VIN on this car doesn't match the VIN for the number plate on the car. So I put a number plate in the car and it comes up stolen.
Oh, my God.
So I ring the police and they're like, yep, that car's stolen. We're going to come down and repossess it.
Yeah.
I had to ring the customer and say, your car's stolen. The police have just taken it away. No, she didn't.
Oh, so she bought herself a stolen car without realising how
it was some old second-hand.
Yeah.
But that
advantage of a dealer. Here you go.
But you still got your airbag needs recall.
Yeah, that didn't change.
You know?
They'd stolen the plates. The vehicle they had stolen. I put the plates on an identical car. I said, tell this customer, your car's gone. It's stolen. The police have literally taken it.
Oh, that's awful.
But here's your number plates. I got to give her the number plates.
The only ones we did have 2 cars stolen years ago, about 35 years ago.
Yes.
They broke in, and we used to, at that stage, we had an external ramp went from the second story down, and they jumped through the skylight. And the police found the 2 cars in the Awakino Gorge.
Oh, okay. Abandoned.
Yeah. So someone had just taken them for a joyride, but we got them back.
So would they have hotwired them or?
Back in
No,
those days,
the keys would have been in them.
Oh, of course.
But different now.
The right front tyre.
Yeah. No, probably in the ignition. I won't say we had that much security that time ago.
People still want to do that. We're like, no.
No. Yeah.
No, so we've always had them returned from a test drive.
Oh, okay.
But that was one that I'll have to concede.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I think I just I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, sharing a little bit about the rich history of WR Phillips, and the passion's so evident. You know, you can see it in you guys.
Cars are cool, Anna.
Yeah, they are.
Once you get into the motor industry, you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
It is such a cool industry, and you hear people leave to go off and do something else, and you guarantee they're going to come back into it. It's such a cool industry.
It's very addictive.
It gets into your blood.
It's very addictive. Yeah, it does. And I mean, would I do anything else? No. I mean, I've got absolutely no regrets coming into the company all those years ago, and I think that my opportunity to do something with it and to be able to work alongside Julia and the family is second to none.
Cute.
It's something I'd certainly, if people have an opportunity to do it, don't be afraid.
Yeah, and that's really.
But you got to know your lane.
With me.
Yeah. But I think you just got to know your lane.
Yeah.
What's your part in it all, and respect what other people are doing in it, and
That's a huge part of it, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not my job, you know. Let them deal with that. Respect that. That's such a
absolutely. And as long as we've got a common vision as to where the business, where we think it's going to be in a year's time, or hard to plan out to 5 years, but I think if we just understand that we've all got a part to play,
5
get on and do it.
Dealer of the Year awards.
Yeah.
In 5
Why not, eh?
Yeah, might get a Tina.
Round numbers, round numbers. Yeah, very proud.
Yeah.
Very proud of it all.
Well, obviously, if you're looking for a car or your car to be serviced or anything in
Need a
the
new
above,
windscreen? We do windscreens.
Yeah.
What else do we do?
Yeah.
Oh, if you hit your wheels or rims on those cams, they call them, we can fix those. What else?
Okay, good to know.
Oh, yeah, that is us. I think that's just probably one thing, too. We've diversified a lot, but stayed within the motor industry.
Yes, yeah.
And having windscreens now and being able to recalibrate them all for people and, for all their safety systems.
That's a one-stop
Fixed
shop.
wheels.
That's
That's
ultimately
what
true.
that's what
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to. That's our point of difference in the business at the moment or in the industry.
Yeah.
And just the best we can.
Pumping your own petrol at WR.
Not pumping the old petrol, no.
The Bowser.
Sorry, that's gone. Yeah, never get that one back.
Well, we'll make sure we put some links at the bottom of the podcast so you can connect directly with WR Phillips. But Paul and Julia, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Anna.
Thanks, Anna.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
It wasn't so bad,
Thanks for sharing the story.
We'll catch you next time.
Okay.